Mungu wangamine, ngona kununi kaka kumisalamu. Mungu wangamine, utete mama wa mioyoyo. Mungu wangamine, utete mama wa mioyoyo. Mungu wangamine, kendereza shikola. Nakukesa nakukalipata mama. Mungu wangamine. Kuna kumisa shikola, nakukeza na tukalisa kapanya. Mungu wangamine. Kando mwana kombe mwana chelewa mama. Mungu wangamine. Kando mwana kombe mwana chelewa baby. Mungu wangamine, ngola kululi nanga kumisatari. Mungu wangamine, ngola kululi nanga kumisatari yako. Mungu wangamine, tete mama wa mioyoyo. Mungu wangamine, tete mama wa mioyoyo. Mungu wangamine. Kuna kumisa shimola, nakukeza na tukalisa mama. Mungu wangamine. Kuna kumisa shimola, nakukeza na tukalisa mama. Mungu wangamine. Mungu wangamine, ngola kululi nanga kumisa mama. Mungu wangamine, tete mama wa mioyoyo. Mungu wangamine, tete mama wa mioyoyo. Mungu wangamine, kuna kumisa shimola, nakukesa na tukalisa mama. Mungu wangamine.
Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, Chuempala. Elias Munshya here on TVBAKWETU. Would like to welcome you, and I am coming to you live from Calgary, Alberta, where it is quite cold, but we are surviving. With me here is my co-host, Mr. Patrick Chilufya. Welcome, Mr. Chilufya. How is Europe?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Munshya. Europe, in particular UK, is cold, but not that very cold. We expect to have at least snow or ice since we're going towards spring, but I think we've had a mild winter.
All right, I think
yeah.
I think you guys have had a mild winter. If you could know, it's yeah. Anyway, we are now used. So today's temperatures are about -11 or -12. So that's pretty cold. But I think we have the infrastructure in place for it, and so we are ready.
Mm-hmm.
There are several things that we are following up today. The first one being the fact that we have several students who were evacuated from Kuwait. From Kuwait?
Ukraine. I don't know why I keep on saying Kuwait also.
Maybe it's because war, there has been a lot of war in, I think part of it is that the 90s was the Kuwait
yeah.
war. So,
Yes,
so there is this thing of thinking that if the word war is used, therefore it's Kuwait. But anyway, it's in Ukraine. And so most of our students, mainly students, were evacuated and came back yesterday. They landed at the ZAF Air Base, and they're safe. The minister, the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, says that they were going to do the mandated 2-day quarantine, and then they're going to be released to their families. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Bamush.
Yeah, and then they're going to be released to their families, which is pretty good. And so, kudos to the government of Zambia for that successful operation. I think it feels good to be Zambian again, isn't it, Vachilufi?
Yes, Bamunsha. You know, we've heard a lot of propaganda. What can we call them? People who are trying to alarm the nation with their propaganda that
Right.
this government is not doing anything. What this government has done, to start with, Bamunsha, I'm proud of being Zambia.
Right.
There are student doctors. This article is all over in newspapers in South Africa and media and on social media. These
Right.
two students from South Africa, they really admired how the Zambian government did the evacuation of their students. They're
Right.
saying there was so much, despite Zambia not having an embassy in Kuwait, but I think we've got an embassy in Poland.
Did you think we
Yo, so sorry,
in
Ukraine.
Ukraine? Uh-huh.
I think we've got an embassy in Poland somewhere there.
Right.
But the way they coordinated, uh, you know, the organized transport, everything was planned. But
Mhm.
the South African students, and we expect South Africa a big economy with an embassy, their big embassy in Kuwait. They
In
were
Ukraine. In Ukraine.
in Ukraine, that
Right.
they couldn't do what the Zambians did.
Right.
And a lot of students who flee from African students, they had to follow the Zambian students because the Zambian students had buses, transport to take them from one place to another. So, which is I'm so proud, Vamusha, to be Zambian because you can see that this government is organized. This government has a plan, though people are just making noise. But this is a sign of leadership. I'm proud of
I
being
think
Zambian.
I think this is also a moment a moment of pride. And Bachilofia, the reason why we are proud of our country is because we here on TVBAKWETU, we have always believed in the potential that our country has. We believe that Zambia can do better, and Zambia has done better. And the beginning point towards that journey of greatness was in August. I still stand by what we did in August in changing leadership, so that we can have leadership in place that is going to help our people and prioritize not the personal comforts of the leaders, but to prioritize the comfort of a nation, its citizens. I think that is where the difference is. And I hope that we are going to continue on that trajectory. So again, today on TVBAKWETU, we commend the good work that has been done from the president to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And what a great guy, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. When he was appointed, some were questioning his his ability to navigate through international issues. And look at how he is performing. Very, very commendable. And so we commend you, Honorable Kakubo, Kasongo Kakubo. We commend him a lot.
Yeah, I think Bamunsha, this government is underrated. You know, then the other thing people have to accept is Bamunsha, an economy that was bleeding for 7 to 10 years.
Right.
How who can expect that economy to be cured in 6 months, and also and 2 months, 2 weeks into the new budget?
Right.
Yeah. So, and then nobody, only a few guys in this government, maybe one or two people, have been in government before. So you cannot expect, it's a learning curve. Leadership, you don't learn it in school. You learn it while you're working.
Right.
You have to catch it. So these people are learning. So they will learn and they will catch up. Most of them are educated, they're intelligent, they have worked before, they will catch up. And this economy, Zambia is in good hands by Munsha. We never wasted our time to support the movement.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Now, among people that are criticizing, now we need to make it very clear about Chilufya that we believe in criticism. We believe that citizens of this country have the right to comment about issues that are happening in their country. As a matter of fact, we ourselves, be it on TVBAKWETU, even before the creation of TVBAKWETU, we were very, very insistent on citizens' rights to criticize. And we cannot, when our movement is in power, when our party is in power, we cannot discourage the citizens' responsible rights to criticize their government. And I think those criticisms are welcome. Where we have drawn the line, and in fact, where I think I have drawn the line personally, is to receive criticism from the people who put us in the mess, particularly those that are unrepentant. That is where I draw the line. I know every citizen in our country who is hurting, who is finding the price of a commodity much more expensive than it was, who is perhaps paying more at the pump. They can try to say, why is this going? And they can seek answers. They can seek answers from us as friends of this administration. They can seek answers directly from the government. They can seek answers from their political party. That is what it means to be responsible citizens. One thing that we must never allow is the people who put us in the mess, who stole. Now, we get into trouble sometimes because why do we call it stealing? It is stealing. What took place in the 7 to 10 years of the administration, of the Lungu administration, was theft. Simple. THEFT, theft. The Patriotic Front administration was an administration of thieves. Now, they steal from the Zambian people, and then 6 months down the line, they come back and they begin mocking you as the people of Zambia to say that, no, we had a better plan. The Patriotic Front never had a better plan. The Patriotic Front was a government of mafias. They were thieves. They stole from you completely. They stole from your resources. They mismanaged your country. And today, accidents all over our country. And what is the number one factor why we have accidents? Shoddy road works. And why did we have shoddy road works? Because the Patriotic Front, theft organization, prioritized its own pockets over the lives of our people. So safety was not a priority, but their own pockets were a priority. And theft and corruption do have consequences. And that is the reason why we are having so many accidents on our roads. This rainy season, so many accidents. Omusebo wako bapanga at $1 million a kilometer. In the previous 7 to 10 years, $1 million a kilometer. They steal the money and then they do a shoddy job. Today, we are suffering the consequences of that theft.
No, Bamusha, you know what surprises me is, yes, Bamusha, we're a democratic country. And criticism in a democratic dispensation is healthy. And for that matter, constructive.
Yeah.
Somebody cannot wake up today who was sitting in South Africa and Addis Ababa, supporting a corrupt government, working for a corrupt government as a civil servant, was an ambassador. Now he's saying the road between Serenje and Impika, and then Chinsari and Porokoso is Hellran. Munshya, these are the people who borrowed heavily to do those roads.
Where did the money go?
Where did the money go to? Munshya, they had 7-10 years of billions, and they couldn't do those roads. And this guy, Munshya, has got the guts to start attacking this government. Is that constructive criticism? So he saw his friend stealing money. Maybe he was part of it also. And then today he's attacking this government. So Munshya, they were pompous.
Right.
And they've come back. They are saying we are not working. The UPND government is not working. They are working. 6 months. 4 of that six months is the PF budget, where there was no money, and only 2 months is the new UPND government. And then they are saying the UPND doesn't have a recovery plan. Well, they don't. UPN government shouldn't have a recovery plan. We've got a budget.
Right.
A recovery plan only comes when you failed. The budget has failed. Everything has failed. That's why the PF had the recovery plan, because they failed. Over to you, Munshya.
Yeah, I do definitely agree with that. Now, moving on to the next one. Now, the issue, and I said this yesterday, the reason why we must repeat these things is that we learn through repetition. Leaving topics hanging, mwalanda kwefi, ero mwasalanda fimbi, ero mwalanda fimbi. Sometimes you feel mule tolao kafikwati ni tukolwe. Sometimes we need to stay on a topic, teach and talk about it more and more. We are being accused that we are dwelling too much on what happened in the past. Let us be very categorical here. 10 years ago is not the past. 5 years ago is not the past. 2 years ago is not the past.
6 months ago.
6 months ago is not the past. The consequences of the mismanagement that took place in the past 5 years is affecting you today. And when you say that we need to move on, the problem is that you are planting a seed that even the UPND can do the same madongo-dongo that the PF did. And as long as they lose an election, people are going to stop talking about it, and we are going to repeat the same cycle of theft and corruption. The reason why we must insist on accountability, and the reason why Zambians must continue talking about the theft that happened, is because that theft is still affecting the lives of our people today. Even in the Bible, that's why every day, particularly Catholic, every time there is mass, babula bode yakwa Yesu, they cut it. Remembrance. To remember, nama Jews bene. The Jewish nation itself is predicated on memory, remembering what happened. Nomba ifwe batu ibira kuri buri obuteko. You shouldn't talk about it. If we don't talk about the kind of theft that was perpetrated by the Patriotic Front, we are planting a seed that the UPND is free to do the same kind of rot. That's what we are doing. And that's what every citizen in our country, whoever is saying that we need to move on, is saying. We need to ask ourselves, how could such a rich nation borrow $30 billion and this $30 billion disappears in thin air? Our people continue to be struggling. How could we be bringing in oil in our country, sell it at a loss, and have $700 million in debt as a result of fuel supplies? Where did the money go? How could we be getting $1 million per kilometer per road? Borrow, pay $1 million per kilometer. And 2 years down the line, our roads begin swallowing the tired blood of our citizens. These are, now, we are not saying that there's going to be a grand thing, but in the collective memory of our nation, we should never forget the atrocities that are committed against our people. Because if we forget, then the people in future are going to repeat the same kind of madongo-dongo, the same kind of nonsense. I love this country so much that I have a duty to remind ourselves of what happened, of what brought us in this mess. Now, the government is there, the UPND is there in order for them to govern. That is their duty to govern. But my duty as an educator of our country, as a conscience, as a voice that speaks in this nation, it is to ensure that the UPND does not repeat. And the only way by which we can ensure that the UPND does not repeat the atrocities of the past is to remind the UPND of the atrocities of the past. If we forget, then we are planting a seed of destruction for our country. And it will be quite embarrassing and intolerable. That we are not going to do. How did Faith Musonda end up with 65? Now, some of us are saying, then use the criminal procedure. Quite all right. The criminal procedure is going to be used. But when people are stealing, sometimes when people steal from you, you are in a maze of confusion. If sometimes but that should not stop us as citizens of our country to continue talking about corruption, to continue talking about the kind of mess that happened. Because sometimes the criminal procedure itself can be longer. But that should not stop us. But look at KCM. I know this matter is in court. We taught the people of Chuempala, at KCM, Wufi, Babula KCM, government has grabbed it. It was a lie. What they did with KCM is, Badi Vula Valungu, Elobapela Miringo Lungu Munabo, at Mnakupa. In broad daylight. And if we don't talk about it, you know what? UPND, what will stop UPND from doing it? What will stop it? But if we talk about it now, it takes it into his personal bank account. It earns interest, and he steals that interest. That is the kind of situation that we were facing. Now, when we are saying this, it's not because that it is because our country matters. Zambia matters. And every citizen matters. Every citizen matters.
Yeah, Munshya, the issue of KCM really makes me feel sad. They were lying to everybody that, they've taken those mines because they were mismanaged, tax, and then they will benefit Zambians, and yet Ubushko in the Ramashirefuma. Shimoshirela kuma offshore accounts.
Right.
That was just a plan to plunder from, Abantu Munshya. They were looking everywhere they can plunder from Zambians. And then, Munshya, if all that money, Baleiva, was in the coffers, you tell me this government will struggle to do things.
No.
And then the same people,
Imagine if the roads that were constructed at $1 million a kilometer, a correct price was paid and quality was insisted upon. Zambian engineers, the same people who build shoddy roads in Zambia, they've built state-of-the-art roads in Botswana and South Africa. What is the difference? The difference is leadership. And if we don't hold these people accountable for what they did yesterday, there will be no change. What is the difference? Leadership matters. And we hope that the next roads that are going to be made are going to be truly state-of-the-art roads. Chachila ukuluzinga abantu balefwa nisha bepa ya misebo. What's wrong with Imisebo? Imisebo shama dongo. What happened? They stolen. We are not going to move away from this.
Munshya, why do we learn history, Kuskulu? It's because we want to know what happened in the past.
Exactly.
And then a person who does not learn from the past mistakes cannot move forward.
Never.
Because you keep on making the same mistakes.
Never. Yeah.
So they want us to move forward. When bakelenka tulapoke ndalama, esho baiba, tulabakaka bamo. Now, Bamunsha, Faith Musonda, you mentioned how sophisticated that stealing was. You know, how did the money, that kind of money, found with Faith Musonda? Because Bamunsha konka fe system, efo ibomba, there's no way somebody can have anywhere in the world can have that kind of money munganda.
Yeah.
So how? Where did that money come from? Because no bank will give that kind of money out.
No.
So if she can have me the Bank of Zambia, shaf me the common sense.
Common sense. If it's complicated, if you're too complicated, simple common sense.
Common sense.
How did 65 million leave? Now I know that the government has taken its own time and stuff like that. But we've got to end here, and from all of us here on TVBAKWETU, good night, God bless you, and God bless our country. We will be back again in order for us to continue our conversations about the country we love. Good night.
Thank you, Amush.